Welcome to the Magical Mommy Monday podcast. We really appreciate you listening. We'll be talking about everyday mom life with some pixie dust from Disney thrown in from time to time. This is a judgment-free zone. We know everyone parents differently, and we're just two moms doing our best as we figure out this whole parenting thing. So now, let's get this party started with today's episode. Said something funny to me via text, though, and I was trying to remember. And now I can't. Oh, well.
Was it about your superintendent?
No. So I do have to tell you, first of all, that literally made me LOL. So yesterday, for those of you listening, I sent Angela a text because you know she has a crush on the superintendent of my child's school. And he put out a new video yesterday, so I obviously have to keep her in the loop. Should I say what you said? Or
It's fine, whatever.
So in the video, he's wearing a mask, but you know, he's got short sleeves on, so the biceps are out. So I just sent her a link to the video which doesn't have a preview, and just under it put masked biceps.
Yes.
And she writes back, "Oh, I didn't know it was superhero day."
I feel like I have to explain this. Like,
Yeah.
okay, so the superintendent, you know Jeff Goldblum, how like older,
Yeah.
but good looking?
Yeah.
That's the superintendent. Older, good looking.
Right.
I believe the Gen Zers, are they Gen Zers? God, I feel old right now. They're calling those kind of men zaddies.
Oh.
Mr. Superintendent is definitely a zaddy.
Right.
And so I don't even know why you sent me this video to begin with. I have no idea. No, I remember it because you said this is the epitome of a New York accent.
Oh,
That's
yes,
why you sent it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I'm like, well,
it hadn't crossed my mind. Anything else hadn't even crossed my mind.
No.
I was like, oh my God, the accent, she'll crack up at this. Let me send it over. And I created.
I have a new celebrity crush apparently.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I wrote you back. I'm like, I wasn't planning on breaking a sweat today, but here we are. Anyway.
I do have to tell you, Frank was over as I was sending this to you.
Oh, great.
So I told him what you said as well, and he was cracking up as well. He was getting a big kick out of it.
All I need is the big brother knowing about this.
Right? Well, and really, shame on me, I should have been Zooming you or FaceTiming you during this because, you know, if the siblings are getting together, you should be involved.
I know. We should have done like a joint Instagram live or something.
Oh, why didn't we do it?
Oh, next time.
Next time, for sure.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Okay. We'll do that next time.
How dare you not invite me? Oh, and by the way, I kind of felt bad for what I commented on your tweet. Jen was talking about how she went to Galaxy's Edge without her entire family, and they were kind of giving her crap about it, and she felt really bad. Mm-hmm. And I replied with the GIF. Is it a GIF or a GIF? Look what you did, you little jerk. By Home Alone. I thought it was hilarious. And then I almost felt bad, but I'm like, no, she won't take offense.
You should, first of all, and I replied to you, #this is why we're siblings, because Home Alone, very big staple in the Dillo household. Every Christmas Day we watch it. It is quoted. Me and Frank will say random lines and just laugh at because we're ridiculous. But look what you did, you little jerk. That is said every time. If we make a mistake, if someone else does something, whatever it is, we will say that to each other every single time. Or, and depending on the company around, or if the kids are around, we'll just like, look what you did. Just under the breath, whatever it is. But that's why it was a perfect response to that.
Okay, that kills me because my family, and even it's like one of the 4 movies Michael has seen. Yeah. Like we quote that, and Fuller, go easy on the Pepsi.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it was perfect. So do not feel bad. Never feel bad about your responses, but especially that one.
I think that a good Home Alone response is applicable in most situations, honestly.
Absolutely. Come on.
Oh, so you guys are probably wondering what we're talking about today.
We're wondering the same thing.
Yeah, well, we definitely did not put this topic together 30 minutes ago.
No.
Okay. I mean, I just want to preface this by saying this was our first week of distance learning.
Yes.
So we are running on fumes as far as great way to preface this episode. What are we going to talk about? No. Yeah, we're running on fumes as far as energy levels, but we do have a topic, and I'm actually really happy with what we're going to talk about today.
Me too. Samesies.
First of all, welcome to the Magical Mommy Mondays podcast. I'm Angela Dahlgren here with my co-host, Jen Snyder.
Hello.
Last episode, we talked all about distance learning prep. So prepping our classroom, how we're prepping our house, our emotions, our mental health, all those things. And as you can tell, we did make it through that first week with only a few tears from the kids and ourselves.
Yeah.
But today we are talking about Disney World. We're going to our happy place when you wish upon a star.
Just a side note also, I tweeted today, it's Time Hop, that app, it kills me. It just kills me because it brings up memories.
Why do we go there? Why do we go there?
And 4 years ago, I was in Disney. I mean, I've been since 4 years ago, but I was in Disney 4 years ago.
Actually there.
With a baby bump for the now 3-year-old, with my little funny baby bumps shirts, sporting them around Disney on a beautiful September day. And it's just so hard. So hard.
Can't go there right now.
No.
I just can't. Okay. But we're going to talk about Walt Disney World. Because I said Disney World, but I've been so conditioned to say Walt Disney World that it didn't feel right to say Disney World. Okay, I just had to get that off my chest. And the fact that I sang a little sharp, the singer in me, just had to get that out there too. I'm sorry. I'm going to work on my singing.
It sounded fabulous. So
this is a day for confessions, apparently. Yes, I am on my second cup of coffee. We're going to get to the episode right now. So we are talking, Jen, you have a lot of editing to do.
No way. I'm keeping all this.
I'm sorry, everyone. So we're going to talk about bringing your toddlers to Walt Disney World. And we're going to give you some, I guess, maybe some COVID ideas.
Yeah.
For combating COVID if you plan on bringing your family to Walt Disney World. Again, this is a judgment-free zone. You know your family best. You know what to do. We're just giving you some ideas.
Yeah.
And how we have navigated COVID with our toddlers, with our kids. Mm-hmm. But you do you, boo, okay? There's no judgment here. We're going to give you our favorite attractions. We're going to give you some tips and tricks for bringing toddlers, but also we're going to be aware of the fact that Walt Disney World is different during a time of COVID.
Yeah.
So we're just going to give you some ideas for going during that time because that's the world we're in today.
Indeed.
Okay, that's my little disclaimer. Let's move on. Okay, first of all, I do have a trip planned tentatively for November. My kids do not know. I don't know if I'm bringing them. I have canceled 2 trips that I've planned during COVID. It really depends on Florida's numbers. Mm-hmm. I hear they're in the 3,000s. Still too high for me. Yeah. So we will just see what they're at.
So you don't know if you're going, which I think a lot of people are putting trips out into the universe with high hopes, and you can always cancel. So it's it's sitting there just in case you want to do it. Maybe you bring kids, maybe you don't, but it's there just in case.
Exactly. And I think I almost need it there. I need a little bookmark to give me something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which I think is pretty common right now. I think in this time of COVID, a lot of people feel like there's nothing to look forward to.
Right.
And I think I almost need that as a spot holder right now.
Yeah, definitely.
To get me through, the little light at the end of the tunnel. But we're not talking about me. We're talking about the kids. So we have both brought our kids several times to Walt Disney World. I personally have brought my kids once or twice a year because they're spoiled children. And Jen, you have brought your kids several times at ranging from infancy all the way to just a year or 2 ago.
Yeah, the 6-year-old has been 8 times. The 3-year-old has been 4 times. But now neither of them have been in 2 years because now everything so crazy.
But we have that variety of an age range.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Let's start at the beginning. Let's start at, I think, what we would deem most important right now. Again, no judgment-free zone, people. Mask wearing.
Yes.
I personally, my kids are 4 and 6.
Mm-hmm.
I have them wear masks.
Mm-hmm.
I am #blessed. They have no problem wearing a mask,
Mm-hmm.
but I did introduce it very early.
Yeah.
I talked to them about the importance of wearing a mask, why we wear it. I have said this a million times, like 4 out of my 5, their 5 grandparents have immune compromised systems. We wear it for them, and others. So we practice wearing it. We practice wearing it to the grocery store. We wore it like around the house, going to the zoo. And kids are smart. We really need to give them more credit. Tell them why it's important in terms that they understand.
Yeah.
Who did I see wearing one? Oh, Danny. She's a contributor for Touring Plans. Her son is like 2. And people are amazed. He wears his mask in the parks.
Yeah.
And I think she wrote on Twitter how it was just a matter of him practicing wearing it.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, kids are toddlers, and toddlers are unpredictable. And sometimes they throw the red cup because it's Tuesday and they don't like it. So, kids are going to be kids. Yeah. But I do think that early exposure, talking to them about it, practicing, those are all ideas that I have found helpful.
Yeah, I think if you're planning a trip to Walt Disney World with your children, and they are not accustomed to wearing masks, I think you definitely need to practice beforehand. In these parts of New York, mask wearing has to be done in the stores, which actually I just realized yesterday that my kids have not even been in the store since prior to March 13th. So
really?
I have I have done some parking lot pickups with them in the car, but they haven't actually gone into the store since then. But when we were starting out over the summer, going to the beaches, or we would go to little local farms and things like that, masks were required, until you could get to a point of social, if you're on the beach, until you could get to your own space or anything like that. So, my 3-year-old is a tougher sell because she's younger and really want to do it. Plus it was a summer, so it's hot, and, that makes kids want to rip it off a lot easier. But over time and explaining, and especially someplace like the beach, you need to wear it in the parking lot, as we walk the boardwalk, but once we sit down, we can take it off, and, that helps. So I think just kind of like anything with kids, preparing them, talking with them, constant communication, explaining why it's important, and, make it a normal thing, because for most of the country at this point, wherever you are, it's a normal thing. So if you're going on an airplane, you're going to be wearing them for long periods of time. And, for me, I think about okay, if we were to go to Disney with the kids during a point where they would have to wear masks in Disney, I think for me personally, and knowing how they were over the summer when we were out and about, I think it would be easier to do it not in Orlando summer humidity, because it's just one less thing for them to get annoyed with the sweat and the, all of that. But I think it can be done, and I think absolutely give your kids more credit. And we're in Disney. These are the rules of Disney, and this is what we have to do. So
exactly. I completely agree. If you want to go, do you want to go to Disney? Do you want to go on the rides?
Yeah, exactly.
Wear your mask. And for the record, wear it above your nose.
Yes.
This applies to adults too. It's it has replaced my pet peeve of people being late.
Yeah.
People wear the mask above your nose.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
PSA over. Make it fun too. Let them pick out their own masks.
Yes.
There are so many fun masks out there. And also Jen and I realize that kids under 5 or 4 do not have to wear masks.
Yeah.
But we want to wear them for other people. We want to protect other people. We are maskers. Maskers. We are maskers.
We are pro mask,
Pro mask?
I guess.
Yes. Yes, and I will stand on my soapbox all day because I have parents on the line that I love and other loved ones that I want to keep alive.
Yes.
Okay. Yep. Going to fight that one to the death. So this also includes social distancing.
Yeah.
My son, who's 4, he does struggle with this when we go places because like the zoo. So we have started going to the zoo. The zoo has very safe protocols in place. So it's a place that we now feel comfortable going. They have roped off routes. So everyone's going one direction. Masks are mandatory. There is hand sanitizer everywhere. So we've been going to the zoo, but my son gets really excited because he wants to see the animals. So he likes to run ahead, and it just makes it harder for him to social distance. So I have to remind him, okay, we need to stay together so we can give them space. And you can run ahead if there's no people around.
Right.
So when it comes to social distancing, those are the little reminders that I give him is, let's stay together to give them space. You can run ahead if there's no people around. But kids get excited and they forget. So, just having that patience and giving those reminders is something that I like to do.
Yeah, it's a brand new world, a whole new world. It's a brand new world for everybody. So, as much as we tell our kids one thing, adults are still struggling with this. So
Totally.
In Disney, at least the crowds are reduced right now. So it's not as bad as it normally is, but they will definitely need reminders that, social distancing is important, not to get too far away, not to be respectful of other people. If someone is trying to pass us, we have to move over. A lot of those I like to stand by normally. Some others come opposite direction don't. Anyway, but yeah, so I think it's just everyone needs to be cut some slack because adults and kids are still struggling with mask wearing and social distancing and all of it. So I think we just all have to be in it together.
Yes, and be nice to the cast members, please.
Oh, please.
Because their job is hard enough anyway, but now their job is extra hard.
Yes.
So just please be kind because they don't want to tell you to do this or that, but they
don't want to tell you to pull up
the
the mask over your nose. They don't want to do that.
I'm
sure they get some anxiety as they see a nose approaching. They have to tell.
So before we actually move on to being in the parks, the final thing that I just do anyway, and I feel like most people do when they travel, is just have all the hand sanitizer and wipes. You know who is really amazing at this is Carly Wiesel. She went to Walt Disney World for the opening week. And she had this whole procedure in place. She not only had like the hand wipes and the hand sanitizer, but she had Lysol, like the spray. So when she would get to her room, she would have like a drop zone in her hotel room. And it would be like right inside the door. She would drop all of her bags and all of her stuff. And she would spray it with Lysol. And that would never enter the room, anything that she had in the parks. And then she would immediately go take a shower, and then she wouldn't even enter her room until she had showered, just to keep everything sanitary. That's a whole other thing that we can definitely talk about. If you are wondering about kind of going to the parks, period, even without kids, and we could definitely do another episode about that. But that's, just bringing hand sanitizer, wipes. I always bring those anyway, but just, I don't know, and maybe extra masks if it is going to be hot.
Yeah, I think that's Justin and Sam over at the Monday Morning Monorail podcast. They have talked about that, especially with the summer, that you definitely want to have at least 2 masks on hand because they get a little gross after a while, sweating and walking through the park. So definitely a key.
I feel like, sorry, I interrupted you there. I feel like even as cute as the reusable masks are, I would almost just do disposable if I was going during the summer.
Yeah.
Because of how sweaty they get.
Yeah.
So let's move on to Disney transportation when it comes to kids. So if you're using Disney transportation, you're not going to need a car seat, but this is the time of COVID. So if we do end up going in November, this might be the first time I rent a car.
Welcome to the dark side.
I don't like renting cars. Honestly, one of the only reasons we keep going to Disney is I like being in the bubble where everything is taken care of, where once I get off the plane, I don't need to worry about a thing. I don't need to worry about transportation or dealing with any of that.
No.
But because it's the time of COVID and we want to reduce our exposure, it might be a time to rent a car. And in that case, you can rent car seats.
Mm-hmm.
And we have done that in the past. I will say renting like rental car seats are not very nice. And I really do question their safety. Just because I've seen them firsthand, and I really, really question how clean they are. That's all I'll say. But in that event, I would consider bringing your own car seat. And along with that, I would bring your own stroller too, if your toddler uses a stroller, because they will just be more comfortable.
Mm-hmm. And you definitely, I think if you're doing that, so I am a big car rental. I am pro car rental.
You are
very big.
I did not know this about you.
What? Step over to the Dillo side of things.
Oh my gosh. I feel like it's a whole new you.
So big on that. I think the last trip the kids went on was the first time we did not. And that was because we had gone, my husband had to be down there for a work meeting, actually, in Disney. So we kind of tacked on a trip leading up to that. But I was going to fly home with the kids solo before his work stuff started. So I was like, instead of dealing with the car rental stuff, let's just skip that, because he, during work, was going to be taken care of with transportation and everything. So we're like, let's just do Magical Express there and back. So I think the last time I went with them, then we did that. But Frank and I, like our last two, Dillos do Diz, Dillos does Diz. I don't know what our hashtag is. Those last two trips, we did car rentals, but we grew up car rental people. So we are all about the car rentals.
Just when I thought we were related.
I know, but you're coming over to the dark side. It's great.
I know. So who knew it took a pandemic for me to come over to the dark side?
So I have only rented a car seat once, and I feel the same way you do, and that's all we have to say about that. But so I have brought car seats and stroller. And the stroller, normally I take right up to the gate and I just gate check it. So this way, when I come off the plane, the stroller's there as well, instead of checking it in the front. And then you have to carry the kids through the airport, or what, even though they're probably going to run through the airport anyway, but then you put your luggage on the stroller.
And then you know that one is contained and not going to get stolen.
Exactly.
Wait, is that just my anxiety?
Nope, that's mine, especially when I was traveling alone with them in the bathroom. Like, everyone stay next to me.
Oh my gosh. I have traveled alone with my kids too. It is like, okay, as long as everyone does what they're supposed to, even though you're kids and you do what you want, we will be fine.
I think that's the only time that I was like, I didn't think anything of it. I was like, this will be fine. This will be fine. I got to get through security, and I have to get through any kind of bathroom situation, which one of them was still in diapers at the time. So that was a little easier. But as I'm changing on the changing table, I'm like, however old he was 4 at the time, stay close to me, and, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, I digress. But car seats, if you're checking them, I would suggest getting a bag for them. Some people like to just put the car seat right on the belt. I wouldn't do that pre-COVID. I will definitely not do it post-COVID, because I don't think it's sanitary. Plus, something may break on the car seat. So, I
mean, I bought a stroller bag, and then I used it once, and then I never used it again. So I am a little bit of a germaphobe. I did not use a stroller bag, which is kind of strange.
It is.
Yeah. Very interesting. Now that I'm really thinking about it, and the fact that my kids napped in the stroller afterwards, feel very uncomfortable about it now.
But stroller and car seat bags, definitely do that if you're traveling with them.
Yeah, you can get them off of Amazon.
Yeah. It's just one layer of protection. I mean, then you do have the bag, but maybe you can wipe that down or leave it in the separate area or something. I don't know.
For sure. And since we're on the topic of strollers, once you're in the parks and you're waiting in line, keep in mind that strollers are not allowed in lines. You try to get in line with a stroller, the cast member will direct you to the stroller parking.
Yeah.
They're usually not too far from any attraction.
Yeah.
Sometimes cast members will move the strollers too. So like if you go back for it and it's not where you put it, don't freak out. Just look around. It's still there.
Yeah.
Very rarely do strollers get stolen. I mean, I suppose it happens, but it's very rare. Usually a cast member just moved it.
And usually most people have some sort of identifier on their stroller, like a ribbon, a balloon, something's attached to it that kind of goes, oh yeah, that's mine, in case yours looks like everyone else's. So,
which is very typical. And during this time of COVID, since we have talked about masks, and if you go during a hot time, I would almost just limit park exposure, because if your kids aren't used to wearing masks, if you're not used to wearing masks when it's that hot in Florida, just go for maybe an hour or two.
Yeah.
You know, go off property, go back to your room, you know, hang out with the mask off for a couple hours, then go back. You know, if you have the whole day, you know, just limit your time there.
Yeah.
Because this is a time of COVID, and right now the crowds are reduced.
Yep.
So you're going to be able to do more during the time you are there.
Yes.
And just go for a shorter time that you would if you think that the masks are going to be an issue for you.
Yeah.
Also, did you see the study? I think it was by Duke University. And they did a test with like 15 different masks, and they showed the ones that are most effective versus the ones that are least. And I think just like the regular maybe cloth masks or medical grade, I think those were the two that were most effective. But the gaiters that are like the bandanas.
Yeah.
And
I don't think those are
ones,
allowed in Disney, the gaiters.
Yes. So, and like obviously like the lace ones and stuff, but those gaiters and the fleece ones, those were not effective at all. Like you might as well be wearing nothing.
Right.
So just saying, like, if you're going to Disney, like Jen said, I don't think the gaiters are even allowed, or like the lace ones or whatever. Make sure that you're wearing like a cloth or disposable mask.
Yes.
Just for packing considerations.
Yeah.
Let's move on to something a little more uplifting and talk about our favorite rides to bring kids on.
Ooh, okay. Are we going park by park? How do you want to do it?
Let's do that. I do want to point out that, you know, babies and toddlers can go on any rides that there's no height requirement.
Right.
So that would be boat rides, like Peter Pan's flight kind of thing. Anything where there's no height requirement. And for babies, you don't need a fast pass for them.
Right.
Or kids under
2
and under. Yeah. Where you don't need a ticket for them either.
Yeah.
But they do count as a dining reservation.
Yes.
So do not forget to include them in the number, because they are still a person.
Yes.
Okay. Start with Magic Kingdom, because that's where I want to be today.
Okay. What do you want to start?
I think It's a Small World is a really good one. It's long, it's air conditioned, very colorful. The music, I think it's a good learning opportunity. Yes, very stereotyped, very culturally not accurate in some parts. But I do think you can point out different countries, even though, again, very stereotypical. I do want to make that clear. And the colors, and there's lots of shapes. So I think it can be an educational ride.
Nice. I like the educational aspect. And this just might be my own bias, but People Mover. Good for the kids. It's good people watching, park watching, because you get great views from up there. You can check out the cars going around the speedway. You get views of the castle. So get a nice breeze. There's some air-conditioned parts. It's good. If there are some dark aspects to the ride, use your flashlight on your phone, just in case your kid isn't a big fan of the dark.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, you don't have to like shine it in people's faces that are also on the ride.
Just like point at your feet
in your car. Yeah. Exactly.
I love the People Mover.
Yeah,
that and Pirates of the Caribbean are my favorite rides at Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, that's a good one. My 3-year-old was almost 4 months when we took her for the first time, and her first ride was Dumbo. Now, you may judge me for that. Some would chalk it up to the fact that she was a second child. Maybe I wouldn't have done it with the first one. I don't know. But Dumbo can be good, and she was good on it. you know.
I mean, you were holding her. She's
Yeah.
fine.
Oh, yeah,
She
definitely.
didn't vomit.
No,
There's no height requirement.
exactly. It was all good.
I brought my baby on a plane at 6 weeks to go to Disney World, so
There you go.
it's fine.
Do you have another one at Magic
Yes,
Kingdom?
another one is Under the Sea, Journey of the Little Mermaid.
Oh, yes.
Also, I heard that Voyage of the Little Mermaid is closing.
Yes, I have heard that as well.
I'm really not too upset about it, and I love the Little Mermaid. I don't know
know.
why. I just feel like 2020 has crapped on us enough. I'm just like, whatever.
I have to pick and
Magic's
choose my
dead.
battles now.
I do, yeah. I'm just like, just don't take away the people mover.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
And I feel like when it comes to Hollywood Studios, they already got me with Great Movie Ride closing.
Right.
So honestly, they can't tear any more holes in my heart when it
I
comes to
understand.
Hollywood Studios. Anyway, Journey of the Little Mermaid. Again, lots of color, lots of music. When it comes to kids, music is kind of a win for me.
Yes.
And anything where you just get to sit and calm down, Disney is like sensory overload. And I feel like kids can really get worked up because of that. I know that my daughter tends to get naughtier when we go to Disney because there's no routine, sensory overload. There's just a lot.
Yeah.
And she doesn't ever know what to expect during the day. So having that break where you can sit in the cool air with the music and just kind of enjoy and watching their faces is always the best.
Yes,
I think that's a
for
really
sure.
great toddler ride.
Love it. Love it. I love Prince Charming's Carousel as well. It's a personal fave.
I've never been on it.
Oh, we are learning. So thank God we did this episode. Like, we may not have known certain things about each other if
It's
we
like
didn't.
a counseling session, honestly.
Why have you never been on that?
I haven't been.
Yes, that's judgment in my voice that you hear, everyone in this no judgment zone.
All right, let's go through the list. I haven't done Hollow Presidents. I haven't done Astro Orbiter. I haven't done the Enchanted Tiki Room. Is that it? I just did Country Bear Jamboree with Chrissy from Touring Plans last July. That was the first time I ever did it. I think that's it. Oh, and I just did Tom Sawyer Island last year.
Oh, right. I've only done Astro Orbiter once when I was 16. I think that was the first and last time, actually. But the carousel, it's a carousel. It's right by the castle.
So this is how I feel about it. I feel like it's always busy. It always has a line whenever I look, and I can do a carousel anywhere. Like, we have a carousel at the Mall of America and at the zoo.
Yeah, but it's Disney. Is it playing Disney music with the view of the castle?
Okay, now if it was the carousel at Disneyland where there's more history, I would totally do it. But this one, I'm just like, but I mean, Fantasyland's right next to it. So why don't I go?
Next time you go on it. You bring those kids on it.
Why don't I do Mickey's PhilharMagic, which is right next to it, and my total favorite show ever, and not do the carousel, and then I can smell the pie and see Donald's butt wiggle. Sounds really creepy. Why did I say that?
Okay, I agree that the line can be long, and I do not advise anyone to wait on that line if you're waiting more than 5 minutes. It may post as 10 minutes. It probably won't take 10 minutes. But you have to do it, though. It's a must-do. You must do to do the must-dos.
Okay, fine. I will do it in my life. I will do it in my life.
In your life? I am not very confident that that's going to happen anytime soon.
I feel like we should probably move on to the next park before
Are we having our first fight?
I think we might be. You're going to divorce me. Okay, so Epcot. You know, I really feel like the Seas with Nemo and Friends.
Yes, absolutely.
It's kind of like a Journey of the Little Mermaid. It's like Journey of the Little Mermaid Part 2, Ariel's taking a nap kind of ride. Yeah. Still no ocean. And it leads to the seas, which I think is a great, not time out like you're in trouble, but time out like take a break spot.
Yes, for sure.
And then you got Turtle Talk with Crush there too. So the seas, let's just say the seas as a whole.
Absolutely.
We always go there with my kids. Always.
Yeah.
They love it.
I would ditto that. I think I'm going to stay in the area, although I really miss Journey into Imagination, the OG version.
Never did it.
Okay. I I feel like it's a good ride for kids. Again, anything in air conditioning that's kind of slow moving and you can kind of chill out a little bit while seeing lots of colors and hearing some music is a win. So I feel like, and the line doesn't seem to be too long. Do not wait on that line either if it's posted more.
No, never wait for Journey.
Never. You need to walk right onto that ride.
And never wait for Living with the Land.
Right. And that's, I was going to say, yeah, that one's a good one too.
Yeah, it's educational, but it's not educational in a boring way. Everyone thinks when they go on Living with the Land, it's going to be boring, and then everyone is pleasantly surprised. That is a good-ass ride.
Yeah. I feel very strongly about it.
I swore.
Then if you head to World Showcase,
okay.
Go ahead.
No, I interrupted you.
No. You look like you were like, I'm ready for this one.
I am ready.
Yeah.
So this is how I feel about Frozen Ever After. You know, it's all princessy, Frozen Ever After-y, but you have the drop.
Yes.
So I get this question a lot when I worked for touring plans. When it comes to scary rides like that, like Barnstormer, Haunted Mansion, you know, anything with a little bit of a scary element, you know your kids. Yep. So my daughter went on Big Thunder Mountain Railroad when she was 3. And she loved it. She's a little daredevil. She'll be ready for Expedition Everest the minute she reaches that height. Yeah. My son will not be ready. Well, let's see. He was tall enough for Soarin', and he screamed through the whole thing. Terrified. We know Soarin' is really only scary if you're afraid of heights. He was just terrified because things kept jumping out at him. He will not be ready for Big Thunder Mountain until he's probably 10. Yeah. So you know your kid. If you think that it's something that they're not going to be ready for till they're older, don't do it. But if your kid's a daredevil like my daughter, then they're going to be fine. Or, you know, for me, I took my kids on Haunted Mansion and I just talked through the whole thing to make it not scary. Like, oh, look at him. He's so funny. Oh, that's not real. Is that real? No, that doesn't look real. Look at that funny ghost right there. Oh, I wonder who's knocking on that door. Who do you think's knocking at that door? Look at that funny clock going round and round and round. So there are ways to minimize it, like if you really want to go on it, but also realize that you can utilize Writer Switch, which I think I did a video on my YouTube channel, which I can link below.
Yes, definitely. I agree. All of the above. Also, we have in World Showcase Grand Fiesta Tour.
Oh, I love that. I'm so glad you mentioned it because I forgot.
Yes, nice, slow-moving boat ride, but plenty going on. It's, again, the slow-moving boat rides are where it's at in Disney. Got a little nostalgic feel to it. You got the smells. There's a smell to that pavilion, so it's all good. I'm very big on the smells for those of you who don't know.
Like the water? The water smell. And
not the water smell on Splash Mountain.
No, get out of here with that. People love that water smell. I'm talking like Pirates of the Caribbean smell. Yeah. Yeah, like that. Which apparently, this is months ago, they changed the smell of the rum. It smells different now.
Interesting.
After COVID, after they opened. So this was like a month or 2 ago. Just fun fact. So when it comes to rides. And when it comes to even going to the parks, obviously we are a strong advocate for the afternoon siesta. Go home halfway through, take a nap, rest. You know, even go home, go back to your hotel more than that and take mask breaks or whatever. But most importantly, be flexible and be patient. Yes. You might have this whole plan in place. You might have a touring plan, which is what I follow when I'm there. It's ingrained in me after so long. But your kid might have the plan of jumping in puddles for 30 minutes because that's more exciting than getting in line for the 3:00 parade. Yes. So be flexible, be patient, realize that you're going with kids and they run the show, and that's just kind of how it is until, that's what the solo trips are for. Yes. That's what the adult trips are for. And that's why I love going to Disney both ways. I love going alone and I love going with my kids because when I go with my kids, I get to see it through their eyes and it brings the magic back for me. But when I go by myself, I get to do Disney my way.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a whole different ballgame.
Yeah. I like it. I like those tips. I am the same way. You need a break. I know that Disney is a lot of money. Trust me. Trust me, I know I'll do well. And you and families save up for so long to be able to bring their kids. And so they want to utilize the time. Oh, the parks are open during these hours. We're going to be there all day long. Don't do that. Don't do that. I know it's hard because you spent so much money, but know before you go, you spent a lot of money and the time may not equal that money.
No.
And you have to, don't go into it like that because, like Angela said, the kids run the show. You don't want to burn them out because if you're trying to do that and stay for fireworks, which currently you can't see, there are no fireworks shows, but if you were trying to do that, they are not lasting through those fireworks. They might not even make it to the fireworks. And then you'll be upset because you're like, great, now I don't even get to see fireworks. There's fighting, they will have meltdowns. Think of a day-to-day with your kids. They're having meltdowns every day. Why wouldn't they do it in a new place with sensory overload?
With no routine.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm really glad that you brought that up, Jen, because I think I'd say 90, if not 100% of the fights that I see in the parks are parents fighting because everyone's exhausted and they feel like they need to get their money's worth.
Yes.
So they need to go to the point of exhaustion. Mm-hmm. And when it does come to seeing those later night events, if they ever bring back the fireworks or the parades or the late night parades, which, when are we ever going to see those again?
Right.
You need to plan accordingly when it comes to kids.
Yeah.
You need to take a longer afternoon break. Then you're like, I'm telling you what to do. Like, click, we're not listening. I would suggest you take a longer afternoon break or not get up as early to rope drop, knowing that you have fireworks at 9 p.m. and your family is going to have to stay up till then. Or do not start as early the next day.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Because trust me, I have done it the wrong way. I have done it the right way. Mm-hmm. There is a difference with the adults. There is a difference with the kids. I am someone where generally I need a lot of sleep. Somehow when it comes to Disney, I need like 2 hours of sleep and I'm fine. And I'm just like, it's fine. Coffee will get me through and Disney joy. But, I am the minority when it comes to that. So you have to be accommodating for not just the kids, but for the adults involved. And with that, bring help. If grandparents offer to go, if you have an aunt and uncle or friend that you trust and they offer to come, let them come because the more help, the better.
Yeah. Yeah. And it can be so tough. And especially, if you're there with other friends or you're meeting up with people or whatever it is, it's tough. And I think that was a big struggle of mine, especially when my son was young and we were just starting these Disney trips with him. And we have a lot of friends in Orlando, so we would meet up with people and our friends are great. I mean, they are awesome. But for me, I had like the internal, okay, but if anything starts going awry or I feel like he needs to go, we're going. Mm-hmm. I'm not accommodating to anyone else's schedule except his, and I think it is so hard to try to get in the mindset of you're spending a lot of money. The timing may not equal it, but it'll be such a better trip if you do that. Do not have the expectations. You may have fast passes lined up all day long. You may not get on those rides. And that's okay because you're still going to have, it's quality over quantity, I think. You're going to have a better trip if you give everyone some space and some time to chill out, including you. Because you know that if your kids start acting up, you're starting to feel certain ways too. And it's exhausting for everyone. And then you're going to try to push through that. Just relax. Our suggestion, of course.
No, again, it comes down to that flexibility. And I already mentioned that I do use a touring plan. I've already talked about touring plans like 5 times. So I might as well just keep going. So what I use the app when I'm in the parks, and I use it more than the Disney World app. I only use the Disney World app to arrange my fast passes. Mm-hmm. Jen mentioned you might not get to use all your fast passes. You can move them around, which I do every single trip, every day. I never do the time that I originally planned with my fast passes. Yeah. Ever. So what I like about the touring plans app is that it tells you when to ride if you're doing standby. You'll look at it and you'll say, it'll say wait for a certain attraction, or it'll say ride now, or like ride anytime, or ride later, or whatever. And just as a disclaimer, Jen and I did get a subscription through them, but you guys know I worked with them. I've been using this app for years, and I've been using touring plans for years. So I can tell you with honesty that app just makes going around the park so much easier. And it also has like a rating system. So it tells you if the parks would be good for a toddler, good for a baby, good for, like a teenager or whatever. So I think that if you're looking for attractions and it is your first time to Walt Disney World and you're like, I don't know what ride my kid would like, they also have a rating system. And it's been rated by people who have actually been there.
Yeah. And so it's a great tool to use when you're in the parks or even out of the parks and planning and thinking of good times to go during the year.
Yeah. And that's just the Touring Plans Lines app. You can find it on like iTunes and Google Play or whatever. But I just wanted to mention that because that's what I use in the parks.
Yeah.
So besides bringing grandparents, bringing help, being flexible, I would say not only bring every single snack that you own, and you can have that delivered, or you can go to a grocery store. We usually just, we have family in Florida, so I'll either send it to their house or I'll just pack it in my suitcase. So your kids are
your kids, yeah. Those are mine. But what happens when we record during the day?
I know, it's standard. I thought it was my kids. Not only do you bring all the snacks, but utilize the baby care centers. I didn't know these existed before I had kids because why would you? But they have one at every single park. At Animal Kingdom, I feel like it's on like the left side by the Tree of Life, closer to that. I can't remember. But at Hollywood Studios, it's on the left by the entrance. It's by Casey's Corner at Magic Kingdom, and at Epcot,
Odyssey.
It's by the Odyssey Center. But those are amazing. It's perfect if you need to nurse. They have high chairs if you need to feed your baby food. They have a microwave if you need to heat up milk for a bottle. And then they have supplies if you need to purchase anything. But there's also an area for toddlers, like with little chairs and coloring and books and a TV. So
they have changing tables, like a room of changing tables.
Yes. It's
instead of going to the bathroom with everybody else and
amazing.
Trying to wait. Yeah. So good. I know. I did not know about it either before kids, obviously. And I was like, oh, what is this magical place? This is so nice in here. And even maybe your kids are having a bit of a meltdown and you just need a cool place to sit down and kind of reset. That's great. I think my kids, I had lost one of their pacifiers on one trip, and it just basically made both of them lose their minds in the Emporium. Oh, no. And you would have, it sounded like something horrible was happening to them. And I finally was like, I'm going to the baby care center. Let me see if they have any. And I was able to get like infant binkies, which neither of them were infant binkies. And I'm like, here you go, guys. And it was like, oh, and now you're asleep. Fantastic. But it was insane. So I am very thankful to that baby center. But yeah, I mean, for us, we also had formula with us when we would travel. So we would go to like CVS or someplace like that and buy just like a pack of bottled waters for like, $2 for 24 water bottles instead of spending $5 a bottle in the parks.
No kidding.
So yeah, so we would have water bottles for us and water bottles to like mix formula or whatever. And again, you can go into the baby care center. You don't have to buy things in the baby care center. You bring everything you need. If you need to heat up a snack, a food or a meal, whatever it is, it's just a really good resource to have in the parks.
And it's usually right by the first aid center too.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for the first aid center, it's usually right by the baby care center.
Yeah.
Or attached to it. So if you have like a blister or you don't feel good or whatever, just look for the baby care center. It's usually very close by.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to kind of wrap things up, if your kids need to get their wiggles out, which definitely will happen with my kids, look for those kind of play areas. Now, whether those are open during COVID, I'm not super positive on, but I'm thinking more of the fountains around Epcot, the ones that you can step on, the Casey's water area at Magic Kingdom. And then I also wanted to address the indoor eating. I know that the character meals have kind of been suspended, and I know that's kind of a bummer maybe for mom and dad, because those are like the cutest photo ops ever. Some of my favorite pictures are from the character meals. But just realize that your kid will be happy with the outdoor quick service chicken nuggets.
Yes.
And they'll probably eat more from that meal than the character buffet, where some of the food is really weird and you're going to be paying $65 for dinner.
Right.
So just trust me on this one. You know, you care more than they do. I have been there. And I mean, it's hopefully temporary when it comes to the COVID and the character meets.
Yeah.
And I know that's really unfortunate because you've planned this trip for a year or two and you're thinking about all of the amazing character ops that you're going to get. And it's disappointing. But when it comes to at least the character dining, just know you're saving a ton of money when it comes to food.
Definitely.
Although I had to bring this up. Oh my gosh. Okay. So at Hollywood and Vine, I think Minnie is dressing up in her Minnie witch costume.
Oh.
Which I so wish I was there, because Minnie as a witch is like the cutest Minnie version in my opinion. And I'm really sad that I'm not there for that.
Oh man.
So like I said, the adults care more than the kids.
Yeah, exactly. Have your kids expressed the same despair that you have over this?
Absolutely not. Yeah. They care not at all.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many things to consider, and you just got to do what's right for your family. You got to go at a time that's right for your family, but remember to just cut yourself slack as you're planning, because it can be so overwhelming. Cut your kids slack as they're in the parks. Try to make it a vacation, which I know can be hard, but try to make it a vacation when you're there. Try to concentrate on the fun. Try to get in some relaxing time. Try to do the best you can. And I mean, that's pretty much true for everyday life.
Absolutely. It's very hard to relax at Disney, but that's something that over the years I'm trying to get better at. And I know I'm not the only one who struggles. You just want to go, go, go. But who knows? If we go in November, maybe we're only going to do one day at the parks because we don't feel comfortable. Maybe we'll just spend the whole time at the hotel. I guess we'll see. It'll be a good learning experience, whatever we decide to do.
Very true.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to give us a review on iTunes if you'd like. You can find us on Twitter at Magic Mom Monday, Instagram at Magical Mommy Mondays, and our email is magicalmommymondays@gmail.com. We also have a blog, which we will put in the show notes, and we will also put our own social media handles in the show notes. I hope you're having a great day, night, whatever you're doing, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Magical Mommy Monday podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. You can find us on Twitter at Magic Mom Monday and on Instagram at Magical Mommy Mondays. The music you heard on this podcast was written and produced by Matt Harvey. We'll see you next time.